Radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Monsoon Mike with you right here. It's about 1 o'clock on Tuesday, Election Day. Speaking of Election Day, coming up in 1 hour, our special election coverage begins with Steve Magiri. But we have a special show right now, bringing back some good folks right here. They prefer to be identified as Roman and Mr. R from the popular YouTube web series Regular Car Reviews.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Monsoon Mike, it's a pleasure to be back in this studio. I miss this place so much.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not as cold as it used to be.
Yeah, now that the weather's getting colder outside, although today's somewhat mild, but now that the weather's generally getting colder, we've eased off a little bit on the intense cold because the equipment doesn't overheat as quick in the wintertime.
It took me about one semester when I was a DJ here to get used to the industry standard. What is it,
Yes.
61 degrees?
63, yeah.
63 degrees. So in the beginning, I'm there with my ski jacket, all bundled up, doing...
And your boots and everything else. Yeah.
Right, and then by the end, you're just in a T-shirt, you're in a polo shirt, and like, I'm good,
You get
fine.
used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you lived in Alaska for 6 months.
I have,
yes.
yeah. That was how Regular Car Reviews, or the show, got started.
Right.
Because there was sort of a proto version of the show. See, our RCR is such this weird story.
Yeah.
Because
we should back up first. And
Yeah.
Just re-identify who you are. You were a member of KUR for a number of years, a few years back, and you had a popular car show here on the air.
Right. It was just called the KU Car Show.
And then you disappeared, decided to go live in the hitherlands of Alaska for a year or so, and then you came back, and Regular Car Reviews was born.
Right.
So.
We got Roman came back, and I started doing it for myself a little bit because I came back from Alaska to Pennsylvania. I had finished my schooling here. I was an odd DJ for KUR because I was a graduate student.
Right.
But the Roman was a graduate student as well, although because that's one of the great things about KUR. It's open to all alums to come in, and as long as
faculty and staff, if they want to. We've had some faculty and staff on the air too. So anybody that's affiliated with KUR can be affiliated with KU can be a part of KUR.
That's why I love KUR so much. And anyway, so I finish my degree here. I go to Alaska to work like crazy. I come back to Pennsylvania with no job, and I bounce around a bunch of Joe jobs, a little bit in Harrisburg, a little bit here or there. And I had this very good conversation with a friend of mine, Tom Mansell, who lives out in Boulder right now. I got to see him last spring. And we were driving through Cressona, a town you know well.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very, very bummed out because you had this wonderful high, this great job in Alaska, this wonderful experience at Kutztown University, and now you're back home and there's just desolation.
In Cressona, yeah.
And he just said to me, I remember where he said it to me. It was by the A+, a mark not far from the Cressona Mall. And he said to me, well, what do you want to do? Like, if you could do anything, what do you want to do? And at the time, I made like a bunch of silly videos about cars because Regular Cars started while I was here, but it was only 1 or 2 videos. I had watched other people do car reviews online, and I wasn't entertained at all. I mean, it was just some guy with a Casio Elixir going, I'm sorry for getting up on the mic like this, but he's like, here's my Chevy Corvette. It's a Camaro I'm talking about. My daughter's not home right now, so I get to make this video. Let me show you. It's got a 385 stroker motor. It's pretty good American muscle. All right, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, it's worse than watching paint dry.
It's the guy with the 5 minutes before the school bus drops his daughter off.
Right.
To kind of let me go check out review my own Cressida.
Right.
So I made a horrendously vulgar review of my own.
I would never think.
Of my Toyota Echo. Put it up. It got downvoted almost immediately. That's silly. I made some other ones. They all got downvoted. And my buddy Tom says, well, what do you want to do? I want to do this. Well, there's no money in it. Well, just do it.
Yeah.
You just start doing it. And if you're good, other people will recognize that.
Yeah.
And then it snowballed, and then it was kind of getting hard to write, so I called up the Roman, who we were in class together over in Lytle. We had the same classes with Dr. Schwartz,
Yeah.
Dr. Kelly. Who else?
Dr. Yeah, we were both.
We were both in Vogel's. Yeah, Vogel's class was. I love
Vogel
Vogel.
was great.
Vogel
Yeah.
was great. So I said, hey, I'm having a bunch of guys meeting us in West Reading. Do you want to come along and just write some stuff? Because at the time you already were writing for
this entertainment website. So like I write all the time. Like I just as a general rule, I try to write at least like 1,000 words a day or something. Which, granted, like a lot of like real writers write more, and it's a long story. But the whole idea is that I kind of wanted to do something kind of funny because I spent way too much time writing these for class, like these dour stories, these papers, these analytical
Essays,
things.
yeah.
And it's kind of like a rebellion against the stuffiness of that sort of mode of thinking. So it's kind of like you're getting away from...
It's a release for you.
Yeah. I just had to like...
Right.
So we were laughing in Chef Allen's afterwards after writing the most ridiculous things about a Dodge...
Oh,
Avenger. A Dodge Avenger.
Yeah.
Which is just horrendously, it's awful. Yeah, I can say crap, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's perfectly legal word.
I remember because KUR is FCC controlled.
Yes.
And there was also this little bit of release that after doing FCC controlled things and suddenly being free from that, I have quite the bit of freedom. But one thing that always stuck to me was something that you taught me, Mike, is that you can get across everything you want without being profane.
It's very true.
So as vulgar and as obscene as regular car reviews is, it's never profane. We never swear. No, I think I let one...
I can see that makes sense,
Using expletives... And this is, I'm co-opting a line here from Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
Is that it's a way to make a joke work that isn't quite there yet.
Right. I was just going to say, if you have to use expletives, it's trying to make something that's not that great better, and it doesn't work. Yeah.
Like you look at so many people, and this is me getting jealous by other people who make money on YouTube. There's a bunch of people just playing Minecraft and dropping F-bombs the entire time. Like, and they have 1 billion subscribers. And
they're pulling $2.1 million a year or something. I don't know.
What do? They play Minecraft and pull faces.
Yeah.
With like a picture-in-picture going on. Anyway, cars.
But what's funny about it is that it's still kind of not safe for work, even though we don't swear. I mean, for a lot of this stuff, even like right down to the songs, I kind of try to make sure that I don't accidentally let one out, because especially when I'm doing like the raps, there's like this immediate compulsion to just... There are so many curse words that could go here.
Wu-Tang!
Yeah.
So it's like that internet acronym that I didn't even know what it meant until recently. NSFW, not suitable for work.
Right.
I didn't even know what that meant until... okay, now I know what that means.
That's why they have the tag on Reddit. Oh, you shouldn't... Someone's watching. The guy from IT is probably looking at your computer.
Right.
Anyway, so... I know you're interviewing me, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
You, for the longest time, had a Plymouth Voyager.
Chrysler Voyager.
Don't
mix that up.
Don't
mix that up.
But that was a Chrysler?
It's the same thing.
Right, of course. Yeah, they're all the
They
minivans.
stopped making Plymouths in, 99 or 2000, I believe.
It went on further than that because
Did it go on further than that?
Dodge Neon remained. There was both the Dodge Neon and the Plymouth Neon. They went on for a little bit, but your minivan was KUR's only vehicle, like our work truck.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, we need to go up to the cliffs. It's not the cliffs anymore. We need to go up to Edge. It's not Apex. It's
still called Edge.
The Edge.
The Edge.
I'm living at the edge of town.
Edge.
I'm living at the edge. So we got to haul our stuff all the way up there. It
served very well.
Yeah, it did.
It served very well. I had minimal problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
what finally did it in? Because we were talking off air about your new car. But what finally did the old KUR van in?
It was just time for an update. It still ran. You know, I'm the type of guy. I'm a cheapskate. I'll just flat out and say it. I'm a cheapskate, and I was happy with that car. It ran, but it needed a bunch of work. It was going to need brakes. It was going to need struts. It was going to need a timing belt, which I had stretched way longer than I should have. I think we were supposed to have that changed at 120, and I was up to close to 180.
Right. I know this is terribly good. Like me getting into like the things about if you only had a timing chain, chains last forever. But if you have the belt, why on earth do people use belts?
I know.
I don't know, and I don't know if that engine is an interference engine or not.
supposedly was not an interference engine, so if it did break, it wouldn't have like busted out the
Valves.
the valves.
Valves.
But
All right, for
still,
people,
you don't want to be on I-78 with an 18-wheeler behind you, and all of a sudden, timing belt. Bam!
for people who are listening who don't know what we're talking about, with an interference engine is that when the piston reaches top dead center, when your piston comes all the way up,
Right.
and compresses, and when it comes all the way down, your valves are coming down. They're protruding into the combustion chamber, and they have protruded past that line that the piston originally went.
Right.
So if an interference, if that valve is open down and that piston comes up, that's a big piece of metal hitting a tiny piece of metal.
Yep.
And would slam right into it if the timing belt broke. Your timing belt controls the time when your valves open and close.
Right.
Now, a non-interference engine is where if that the piston doesn't come up quite as far,
Right.
or the valve doesn't protrude as much.
So if the belt breaks, it just breaks.
So
Yeah.
if the fist, as I'm making this fist motion, as the fist of the piston comes up, it won't quite reach it. Like a bully in elementary school doing that thing where they go to punch you and then stop their fist a few inches from your face.
Right.
You flinched. Now I get to throw a tennis ball at you.
Yeah, and then eventually, like 2 years later, you push him down the stairs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's jokes on him because all of them guys get divorced at 23.
That's very true. Yeah, they wind up in jail or something. Yeah.
And then we get to have one night stands with their ex-girlfriends.
There you go.
It's incredibly awkward and very disappointing.
Yeah.
But use protection, kids. But
True.
Yeah.
But,
so the KUR van is gone, and now we have the new.
A 2004 Oldsmobile Silhouette.
I had
which is-
never heard of the Silhouette until you showed me. Like,
Really?
there was. I mean, I knew
I would've-
of the Chevy Venture and then
Right.
the Oldsmobile, whatever it is, but that now there was like the super high-end minivan that General Motors made in the early 2000s.
2000s.
I've never saw your car advertised
Really?
anywhere.
Yeah, and it's funny because that platform was used for like several. It was the it was the Pontiac Montana. I think used the same platform.
Okay.
It was the Chevy Venture, Oldsmobile Silhouette, and there might have been one other in there somewhere too. I don't know, but the Oldsmobile Silhouette being the highest tier of the minivans.
So you have to picture a complete dad van.
Right,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
is.
and you are a
It
father.
is. Yeah, it is a
oh
complete
boy,
dad.
we're going to Old Country Buffet, kids. Here we go. Going
That's pretty much it.
it's family night on
Family night,
Thursdays. The kids eat for like $1.99. They got like masks and whatnot.
Yep.
the official car of going to matinees at it used to be Carmike Cinemas. Now it's something else in why I'm missing.
It's just Fox.
I think it's just the Fox or
It's
Fox.
just
Yeah.
the-
Fox Cinemas. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to see what movie's out now? Captain America: Winter Soldier at 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Last year was Frozen. That was the big thing that everybody watched. Yeah.
Yeah,
All the-
they get off the bus. They're
Yep.
already in the car waiting. Like, no, I already went to Rite Aid. I got all the snacks. Just get in. We're going.
Well, I got to tell you, when I got this van, my son was so in love with it, he did not want to get out of this van.
Really?
He just wanted to sit in there. He just was so fascinated that there was a TV in it. So he was just like, I could just want to watch TV in this
See, that's the thing I love about
Yeah.
growing up in the middle part of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like, people look at, it has a DVD player. The kids were there with their iPods. They couldn't care less.
Right.
But around here, it takes a while for technology to reach us in the Appalachian Mountains. Like, whoa, a TV?
Yeah, TV in the
in
van.
a
Yep.
car?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So he loved that. Yeah, I love it. It has leather, which I wasn't used to. I've never had a
Right.
car with leather before.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, my wife makes a joke because the leather is kind of slippery. So if you're like,
It is,
if you got like some jeans on or something, and you go over, I take one of those back roads around Schuylkill County Burn Road a little too fast.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
whoa! I just slid across the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got to imagine when Chrysler was doing that with some of the higher end K cars.
Right.
Even though I was corrected by people on YouTube that the Chrysler New Yorker
I
is
remember.
not technically a K car.
remember
There
the K
shares some
cars.
parts, but
My mom had a Plymouth Reliant in the 80s. Yeah.
that's
Station
one of the.
wagon.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she-
even better.
yeah.
See, that's one of the cars that's.
And her timing belt broke, speaking of which. She was on top of
Yeah.
a hill and boop, and we just like drifted down into a parking lot.
Oh, that's good. But then it's
Yeah.
not an interference.
It was
engine.
not interference, yeah.
Engine.
It was a little costly to fix, but,
The thing that's great about those old leather, because they were the late 80s were the end of the bench seats,
Yes.
which I adore bench seats. They're completely impractical. These were the ones that were a bench seat, but they had the double armrests where they took an armrest and
Yes.
split it into like two little hot dog buns.
Yes,
and they
yes.
would you could put them down and they would sort of keep you in the seat in the
Right.
same way the lap bar at Nobles Grove on the Phoenix sort of keeps you in that car. But so you take a corner in these things, and if those armrests aren't down, you're in the passenger seat. You're just going right across the car.
Yep. Oh man. So
Yeah.
so let's get back to regular car views. So you to prove how much of a following you had, these guys actually helped fund a car for you, right?
Our fans did.
Yeah.
I lost my Toyota Echo, which
Your
you know
beloved
well,
Toyota Echo.
that I had for 10 years.
No front seat in it for the longest time, right?
For a while, it did not have a front passenger seat
Remember
because
that.
Hilarious.
I was cleaning the car. You could take the front passenger seat out of that car. There was only one sensor in it, which was just a little light switch.
Okay.
That would click in the bottom. That if a passenger sat down and the seat belt wasn't buckled,
the airbag.
the little light would flash on the
Yeah,
desk for
yeah.
passenger. Put your seatbelt on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You take that thing out, that light will never flash.
Yeah.
So you could take that seat out, and suddenly the bulbous interior of a Toyota Echo could carry my. I play the drums, but I don't have a drum set anymore. I could
Right.
fit my bass drum like right next to me. I could fit all sorts of car parts. I could fit a lawnmower and just put it right there in the thing. So and Roman remembers me picking him up, and like you get in the car and you sit in the back seat.
Yeah, and I'm
but
just
there's nothing
chilling.
in front of you.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you got acres
Tons
of leg.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man, it's like my own private reservation.
Right.
What we need to do is like have like a.
Now you had a 2-door or 4-door Echo?
Two-door.
I thought so. You had the 2-door version.
Huge doors. Anyway, lost that in a traffic accident in the snow, and I was hesitant at first even to do a crowdsourcing. Instead of using Kickstarter, we used Fund Anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big Adam Carolla fan, and
There
he
you go.
used Fund Anything. So, good enough for the Ace Man, good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used that, and I set a goal of 5,000. Like I can buy really any respectable used car for 5,000. We ended up at the end of the campaign, we had $15,000, and I was very hesitant to spend any of that, so we only spent $5,000 on a car, and the rest of it we used it to go to a road trip. And one of the things that allowed us to do is that taking a long road trip. Roman was out looking at your van and said, well, if we did in the road trip, we could just sleep in this
right in the
thing.
van,
and I
yeah.
wanted to say something like, I'm not sleeping in a van for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It allowed you to, when you roll into a new city, just go into a hotel, not having
Right.
to do the weird thing where you stay at somebody's house on a road
Yeah,
trip
yeah.
and you don't know the rules of that house. Maybe there's a dog running around here.
Yeah, like can I take a dump here?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do I have
right,
to go to
right,
the
right.
gas station around
Right.
the corner?
Yeah. So it allowed us to really live pretty high on the hog for 2 weeks
Nice.
on a road trip, and also paying for people's food. Like people are coming to see us.
Yeah.
They're bringing their cars to us. At least let me pull out this card and
Treat them. Yeah,
and-
absolutely.
And fill your gas tank.
Yeah,
let
they're-
me fill your gas tank.
they're
Let,
nice
let,
enough
let
to
me
do
buy
that.
you a few
At
drinks.
the very least, let's split a bloomin' onion. Like
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Bloomin' onion.
Oh,
and
I'm
we
hungry.
did, and I barely ate any of it.
And you can feel your arteries like clenching shut afterwards.
I'm just like I'm like I would never eat this under normal
Exactly.
circumstances.
I mean, you're living it up.
Imagine yourself in the kitchen saying, I'm going to cut up an onion, fill a pot full of Wesson oil, and hover around this thing, and I'm going to consume this thing that ends up being just starch and fat.
That's pretty
Yeah,
much what it is.
But
Congealing.
suddenly you're in a big booth, and there's quasi-Australian stuff around you, and then it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's Regular Car Reviews up to now? What's the next plan of action? Are you going to keep growing this thing, or
The next plan of action, we're in a weird catch-22
Yeah.
right now because I have a full-time job at a mom-and-pop computer consulting business, which isn't in my field at all. You know,
a
I'm an
job.
English major.
It's
I
a
have a
job.
master's
Yeah.
from Kutztown.
Right.
It's a job.
Right.
It pays for me to have a nice apartment and everything like
Yeah.
that. But I'm realizing that if we just did a little bit more, like in the past few months, collectively, and this is the different thing between regular cars and other YouTube channels. Most YouTube channels are just one guy.
Right.
So whatever money you make from Google AdSense, and that's how you get paid from YouTube.
Right.
Quick aside, how do you make money on YouTube? You sign up for Google AdSense, and it's just like applying for a job. There's a W whatever form. You give them you scan in a voided check, send it all in, and what they do is then they approve you.
Okay.
You may get rejected, and then they send you. It took about 2 weeks of them mailing stuff to my place, and then eventually you get a postcard. I don't know if they do this anymore, but this is the way they did it for me. You get a postcard in the mail. There's Google on it, and it's one of those postcards that's folded in half, has the really heavy tape.
Yeah.
That really heavy tape circle about the size of a 50-cent piece.
Yeah.
Pulled it over like a wedding invitation. You got to get out a utility knife to cut that thing. You know, you're pulling your car key. It's not one of those things you can cut with a car key. Anyway, in there's a code, and you type that code in your Google AdSense, and now your Google AdSense is activated. And because Google owns YouTube, money you make from all those ads that you see.
Google's going to own everything one of these days.
Why
So,
not?
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Give it time.
Right.
At least I want to be on their payroll. At
There
least.
you go. True, yeah.
Then they will pay you in direct deposit, just like any other job, at the end of the month, based on an algorithm that I have no idea
How
what
many
it means.
hits and all that stuff, yeah.
Then, so other people who have YouTube channels, if it's just one person playing Minecraft, all that money's for me. We split it. RCR is split between myself, Mr. R, and the Romans. So we're going to have to work twice as hard to make the same amount as everybody else. So
Right.
in order for me to do that, trying to sell T-shirts, trying to double my output, but you have this job. RCR is only done from 9 on my end, because I do the editing, is done from 9 p.m. until midnight.
Okay.
That's when it exists. So I come home from work and you go to work. But supposedly, according to people on Reddit, this is how it begins. Well, you have your main job, but then you have your side hustle.
Side job, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same issue with me. It's that it's different. He gets to do all his work at night. I mostly do mine during the day.
Right.
Because my job is mostly an all-day affair, but it's mostly concentrated in the evening. So
Gotcha.
what ends up happening is I'll try and do all the songs and all my notes for a specific car, like my narrative, jokes, whatever, and try to get that in. But normally it's because after I record the songs, I just record and then do all the takes in one shot. So I have to
Gotcha.
listen back to like this 30-minute file and cut
Yeah.
everything out,
Right.
and then just send the compressed version. But it's very time consuming, and I would imagine, we'd be able to triple the output if we didn't have to work.
Right.
But-
Well,
Although I
sure.
encourage you to keep your job because you're getting paid more than I am, I think. But but you're using your degree. You are a writer. You also
You don't want to be a computer guy.
no. Anyway,
it's the only way because we both are taking off work on Thursday.
oh yes,
For
Thursday.
the Jalopnik Film Festival, which we were nominated for the BMW 330ci review,
Nice.
which it's kind of crazy because, it wouldn't have been the first one that immediately came to mind, but
Right.
the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, well, that's one of my favorite ones, mostly because it was shot in State College, which I love that town.
Right.
I went to Penn State for undergrad, so I get there's all this weird nostalgia going on with it, but it's also I don't know. It just felt more of like a kind of. It was an easy review,
Right.
right?
And it was also clean. One of the cleaner ones
Cleaner
we've
ones,
done.
yeah.
Not a lot of greasy sort of Andrew Dice Clay-ish humor in it, because this thing is going to be shown on a big screen in Brooklyn in 2 days.
Cool.
With some people who may not realize what's about to happen.
Right,
So if
exactly.
we had more disgusting ones up there, you got to picture a whole bunch of people who live their lives around cars, and then some guy with a gravelly voice talking about all the things he's going to do to your wife in this car. That.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, in the final couple minutes, because we have to head out at 1:30 because we got to get ready for election coverage, what do you want people to know about regular car reviews? And if somebody is interested in having their car reviewed or being a part of all this, how do you do that?
You send me an email to,
Okay.
it's just regularcars@gmail.com.
That's easy.
Regularcars@gmail.com. You watch us on YouTube. Google regular car reviews. It'll take you right there. We have a Twitter and everything else, but all the info is at the end of every video. So if you're watching car reviews and you're tired of the same old droning on about facts and figures, and you have a taste for comedy, and you have a taste for dirty comedy, and you like cars, and you want all of it together, well, here you go. It's regular car reviews.
And we probably should tip our hat to the loss of a great car reviewer who just passed away yesterday from NPR.
How do you...
Can't pronounce his last name. Tom Magliozzi, I believe, something like that. But he's one of the Tappert brothers, Click and Clack, from NPR, and lost him yesterday to Alzheimer's disease. But he was a legend. I mean,
great man.
My grandmother used to listen to that show.
And it's still on in repeat and probably will be for many years.
It will be.
Yeah.
I mean, they did so much content that he'll be around in spirit for a long time.
Absolutely.
I remember listening to Car Talk. It was in 2001 on Kutztown University in Lytle Hall.
Using real audio.
Real audio player, because that's the only thing that could stream properly back in the early
still around?
I think it got bought out by somebody now. As does everything. It's probably owned by Winamp, or I don't know.
Right.
But so how many videos are you guys punching out every week, would you say?
One. We only do one, and sometimes there'll be journal entries, and we'll do a little bit here to say, hey, we're back at KUR. But if the next stage is to do 2 a week, but it involves me transitioning out of my day job.
Sure.
Yeah, because he's the editor. Like, I have no idea I don't know anything about video editing or anything. He's the one
he does it all. Okay.
Who has that sort of background. Well, yeah, we both took film courses.
Courses. You learn video editing as a matter of necessity.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just like writer, music guy, and the weird thing, like I don't even play guitar that well. But it's.
Don't sell yourself short. You're good.
But that's part of the joke is that I can't really play guitar. Well, I mean, I'll get there. Right. It's one of those things.
I don't play drums well. That's we do regular car reviews. I know we're up against a block, but Roman and I are in separate towns.
Okay.
So we're 45 minutes from each other.
You live down in Reading, right?
In the general area, like in and around there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's close to where Taylor Swift grew up.
Oh, I'm
like,
missing.
Yeah, I actually went to high school with her. It's weird.
Really?
I got to be in The Sound of Music with her. It was very weird because then one day it was kind of announced.
You going to go up to Martha's Vineyard and review her car?
Well, no,
That's where she lives.
It was just weird.
Really?
Like,
or is it Rhode Island? One of those New England towns.
Yeah.
It's just weird. We heard she was moving to Nashville to go be a music star. I'm like, we'll never hear from that girl again.
And that happened. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you guys back in the studio.
Oh, it was wonderful to be here. We're going to hang around in Kutztown for a little bit while because Kutztown.
And you might even have some celebrities wanting to visit you. I know some of KUR's members said that they couldn't wait to meet the car guys.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah,
we're here.
Yeah, come get it while it's
regular
hot.
car reviews on YouTube, and you can just Google you on Facebook as well, and or on YouTube.
Yep.
On Google you, and are you on Facebook as well too?
Facebook as well.
Okay.
All the info's there. All the info's on our YouTube site.
Good stuff. Well, thanks so much for being a part of the show, Roman and Mr. R. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And see you hopefully again soon.
America and the Ad Council.